In its early days, why did Amazon's computer systems repeatedly order 9 copies of a book about lichens? I'll say that again. In its early days, why did Amazon's computer systems repeatedly order 9 copies of a book about lichens?
How are we spelling lichens? Which kind of lichen?
I didn't know there was more than one kind of lichen.
There's wolf kind of lichen.
There's the wolf and there's the plant.
What's the wolf?
Assuming that that's how they're both pronounced. Lichen's like another word for werewolf.
Like lycanthropic.
I have never heard of that, but several people here have much better literary fiction knowledge than I have.
I'd say it's more fan fiction knowledge, actually, to be completely
Listen,
honest.
Simon, you don't need to call us out on the live on the podcast right now.
Okay, so it could be the lichen thing or it could be the 9 thing, he says, desperately trying to pull the car back on the road.
Is lichen the plant, like the moss type plant?
Yes, it is. You have the correct kind of lichen for this question, Alec.
Okay, good.
I wouldn't normally clarify that so early on, but I feel like I want to steer this desperately
Away from wolves.
Away from the werewolf.
Yeah.
I guess it's why. So is it something to do with like, in general, like ordering something might be to do with testing, like making sure that something's working properly, kind of like a little tester order. So I guess the question is, yeah, exactly what you said, Simon. Is the lichen important? Is the 9 copies important? Or are both of those together what matters?
And also, I mean, this is early Amazon, right? So it's not going to be something like machine learning that's being trained on a data set and is overreaching based on something. There's got to be a human input here, I'm guessing. Unless, is the book of a particular physical dimension that was useful to Amazon in the early days? Like, were they using the book to hold doors open in their office or something like that?
The same exact dimension as a certain bit of hard drive.
Or as packing. What if they packed packages with the book because it was the right size?
Does the word moss have anything to do with computers or data storage? Moss, M-O-S-S. Does that mean something where, like, moss, all about moss, and the computer goes, well, we need more of these moss things?
I can think of BIOS, and I can think of OSS for open source software. I don't think MOS. I mean, it inevitably will be some computer algorithm because you take like any 4 letters, they'll work out to something. But in this case, that's not the connection.
Maybe someone who worked at the company wrote this book and was like, I want to try and make sure that my book is still in stock, like it's in demand, that people know about it. I'm going to push it up to the bestseller list.
People have been manipulating the bestseller list from the very beginning.
From the very start.
That isn't the reason behind it, Rowan, but you are getting closer there with thinking about stock. I seem to remember you have a bit of a background with publishing here.
Yeah. Yes. That's the end of that thought. Technically, yes, I do. Has that given me any ideas? No, it has not.
What if they constantly sold 9 copies of it? If they were always being bought out by 9 copies, they would immediately restock. So would there be a reason that an institution might buy 9 copies of a book about moss?
Did it say in the question how often it was being restocked or those 9 copies were being restocked or bought?
The question says that the computer systems were repeatedly ordering 9 copies.
I think the 9 thing has got to be important. The fact that it's 1 over a power of 8 tells me that it's a Mersenne prime.
Oh, I love that you went with the full maths thing there, but it's not important that it's 1 more than a power of 2. It is important that it's 1 less than 10.
Okay, so computer systems care about powers of 2. The fact that it's less than 10 means that it's got to be a human thing, right?
Yes.
Was it to level out a stack of books or something?
Ooh, not quite.
Or what can fit on a shelf?
The books are being ordered, but that's all the question's saying.
They're not being necessarily delivered.
And this is the early days of Amazon. They're not really selling much at all at the moment.
Oh, I could just, it's like, I just know that it's going to be so, like, Tom's going to tell us, I'm going to be like, of course that's what it was. It's tricky because there's so many elements of this question that could be important.
Could be something to do with testing delivery times to see how long their orders are taking to ship because, we now have this kind of slightly, we've got this relatively, no, but it's not being delivered. So it's not about how long it takes to get there because it's not being delivered.
Wait, so what if somebody was to order 1 object on Amazon And then the computer would add on 9 other items to make it up to 10 items. For some reason, there was a problem with like powers of 10 and the number of items being ordered.
Oh, apart from the last bit, you're right. Someone's ordering one thing on Amazon. The computer system is adding 9 copies of a book about lichen and then passing that order on. Why is it doing that?
Does the one thing that they order happen to also be a book about lichen?
No, it could have been a book about anything.
Was it the first book in their system?
It's a workaround. Amazon can't afford warehouses at this point. Amazon hasn't really got anything. They're basically just taking orders from the public and sending them on to publishers.
Is it that publishers will only ship a certain amount of books out? Like a pallet has like a certain amount in. And so it's like we go through. Interesting. Because I know that like with the way that books ordering works in publishing and traditional publishing is that a bookshop will order a certain amount and they can also return the books that they haven't sold in a lot of cases. But the idea is that they kind of predict how many it will sell. They'll send it over, but it's unusual for them to send like one copy of a book.
Yes, that's it. The big book companies would not fulfill an order for one book because that's a retail customer. So Amazon added 9 copies of a book they knew would be out of print and unavailable to the order.
Oh, brilliant.
Bezos, you son of a bitch.
That's so sneaky.
So the response was, oh, yes, here's the book you order. We couldn't fulfill the other 9, sorry, but you still get it at the wholesale price, not the retail price.
Gosh, I really hope the guy that wrote that book was not alive at that point to just have his heart crushed when he realized, oh no, it isn't that people really are so keen about my book about lichen. This is just to get around minimum order quantities.